Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I apologize for the sun, like, creating a halo around my face. Not really much I can do about that. My curtains are closed, so it's just nice weather. Anyway, this is my agent tier list for patch 8.11. All of the duelists have been changed, with the exception of Phoenix and Yoru, who I don't really think needed changes anyway. Maybe Phoenix. But let's just dive straight into it. Raze going back to S tier. They didn't really do anything. The one change they made was not enough to take it off the top of the meta. If you're playing Raze, keep playing Raze. The small nerf, it didn't affect 99% of Raze players anyway. That's all I really have to say about her. Just super versatile kit. Now, very big change. And I love this agent. She's my favorite agent in the game. I main her. Neon straight into S tier. I'm so happy with the changes. There is a lot to talk about here. Start with the wall. It is a lot better for taking space now because of the way that it dissipates, or for holding it. So if you throw the wall up, it doesn't all go down at once. It goes down inch by inch by inch by inch, which means you can take your angles very slowly, instead of being exposed to all of them at once the moment the wall goes down. Really good change. Stun, significantly better even though there's only one. Although technically it's two, because before you got 4 stuns if you hit all of them, because you get 2 stuns with every stun. You bounce off a wall, stuns once, and it hits again, it stuns. The stun duration is longer, and it's way easier to hit the stun now. So you're going to be getting more stuns per game, I think, and more kills because the stun lasts longer. She now gets 2 slides. That alone, as a change, is insane, right? Because you can buy 2 slides, and you can slide forward, and you can slide back. And it's pretty hard to hit that. You've probably seen some of the clips. But now they've increased the slide skill ceiling by allowing her to hit shots while she's sliding. Now, this is a very, very small window. So it is actually incredibly hard to hit these shots while sliding, because you also got to think, usually there's not only going to be one person there when you're sliding into them. Maybe in low ranks, you're going to be able to hit these shots a lot easier. But in higher elos, you're probably going to get traded after you get that kill. Even still, this gives you a direct advantage in the fight. This is what Riot is doing to all of these duelists, is that they're trying to make them want to fight. They're giving them advantages in fights, as opposed to duelists like Jett, where their entire kit revolves around getting a kill, getting out, playing kind of safe. They want to give you advantages because that's the name of the class. You're supposed to take 1v1s. And in this game, 1v1s are kind of 50-50. It makes no sense that these heroes, these agents, are relying on abilities that may or may not give them an advantage, instead of sure hitting, like giving them an advantage. She also pulls her gun out faster while sliding, which means that you can do site executes way better. You actually can slide into enemies now. And on top of that, they increased her speed while strafing. So she's literally like, what's that guy's name? The Tanzanian devil, just fucking running all over the place. In her ultimate, before, it was actually kind of easy to kill a Neon when she was ulting, because her side-to-side movement was about the same as non-ultimate. So you would just be shooting someone that's like strafing normally. Now she's at like Mach 10 sprinting, strafing at you. If you don't hit the first shot against her ultimate, you die. Maybe that's a bit overtuned. Her ult was already good before. I don't know if it's a good idea to have the maximum strafe bonus out in her ultimate. I think outside of the ultimate, it's perfectly fine. Because it allows for better jump peeking, allows for faster rotations, and also it recharges quickly. But man, I've seen clips of people playing against like my own Neon, and let's just say it does not look fun to play against. And that's against me, and I'm not the best Neon in the world. There are like way better Neons than me, and they would just be monsters to play against. So Neon's going straight into Esther. ISO. He's going into A tier. In my last tier list, I had this guy all the way down in D tier. Can you believe the glow up? He's gone from bottom of the barrel, the worst agent in the game, to actually playable. And all they did was change one part of one ability. It wasn't even a full rework. The ultimate's still the same, which is trash, by the way. His ultimate's terrible. So his E ability is so good that he's an A tier without even needing it. It's pretty much just the fact that he gets a shield when he activates his thing. He does an animation, he goes like that, boom, and then he gets a shield. The start of the round, don't need to get a kill or anything, which means any gunfight that you go into, you're an inherent advantage. This is incredibly strong. I don't think I even need to say much about it. It was annoying to play against an ISO with a shield to begin with, and now he gets one at the start of every single round. Do I think it's overpowered? No. I think it's actually well needed, but it does like mitigate AWPs. If you have an ISO and he just goes in and entries, the AWP can't kill him because it just shoots the shield, and then there's a long, like, you gotta cock your gun back before you can shoot again, right? So going into A tier, there's like, if they change the rest of his kit, I could actually see ISO being an S tier agent, especially for rank. Reyna, B tier. The dismiss change is nice. She's actually faster than Neon in her dismiss now, which is really crazy. It's very hard to control, actually. But generally, she's not any different or played any different than she was before. The good thing about her now is that she does get her Empress for the entire round. So they're trying to push this really like skill expressive role for duelist where instead of before, Reyna ult you only had a set period, so you're pretty much swinging into people that know you're going to swing them. They have like full utility, everything. You're going to get stunned, blinded, and then the game kind of just becomes unplayable. Instead, you get it for the entire round. And for that one round, you get to just like showcase your mechanics. You get a free pass to just go swing what you want, when you want, or to play safe when you want, right? I think that's actually a really healthy change for the game. And I think the way that they've dealt with her overheal is also really healthy too. She keeps overhealed armor, but she heals less now. So I think that's good. I think they're trying to stop these kind of like waiting for abilities to fade, this really slow gameplay, and they're trying to force these like metas where there's no timing window. You just have to go when you're ready to go. Jett going into Eta, nothing wrong with her. She just kind of gets outclassed by both Raze and Neon. And later I'll talk about Yoru too. AWP is just not as strong anymore because Breeze is out the map pool, and ISO exists. If you're playing Jett, keep playing Jett. All of the top ranked players, High Elo Radiance, is still playing Jett. They haven't actually changed anything about her, so she's just gonna stay where she is. Yoru, still S tier, man. Still S tier. I know some people get mad about this, but I just genuinely think this guy has an overloaded kit. Like, if you thought Neon was overloaded, this guy has faster rotates on defense than Neon. I mean, what can you actually do against this guy? He has flashes, like 3 flashes, 2 TPs, ultimate's unstoppable. Against a good Yoru player, your only choice is actually like to wait out the TPs. Maybe that's a change they would do to him, and I can see that happening, is where they don't put a timer on his TPs, but they make it easier to break them. I don't know, I just still think this guy's S-tier. There are some maps where I would 100%, like on Breeze, I would have picked Yoru over Jett any day of the week, just because Yoru can like teleport to the other side of the map. Super good for ranked. Maybe not pro play. He's not as good in pro play, because Yoru is actually kind of predictable. If you want to play a duelist and you're coming from Initiator, go play Yoru, because he's the most similar to the Initiator class. He just gives you so many tools to work with. I think this is the last duelist. I'm just looking here because I'm a bit blind. Phoenix is just, he's just C-tier. There's nothing, they didn't change anything about him. There's nothing special about him. I really thought they were going to give him like a Phoenix Wall buff that would maybe make him like B tier or even A tier, but the only reason you're picking this guy is for the ultimate. He can just stay where he is. Now the duelists are out the way. This is probably the easier part because none of these agents have really changed from last patch, so I don't need to talk too much about what's different about them. Although I will very quickly go over Initiators, and I will talk about Clove and Breach, just because I think Breach is the one hero, the one agent that has been directly impacted by these changes. And Clove also got some small changes of their own. So, Breach, going straight into S tier. Look at the 3 duelists I have in S tier. And then tell me who the best initiator to pair with them would be. It's obvious, right? That's my reasoning for putting him in S tier. Every single game that I've had a Breach in, it's been super easy to play. And also, Breach kind of counts as Neon, because you can stun an entire lane, and a Neon might be running down it, they're now stunned, so you can like wall them off if you're like mirroring their Neon, and just slide into them and kill them. Really awesome. Stuns and flashes are just super good, and especially with the map pool, Haven Lotus, really good for him. The only problem this guy suffers from is that in pro play particular, or in any type of like organized team environment, you can't really run Breach solo initiator. In fact, I'd go as far as to say that you're trolling if you're running Breach solo initiator on most maps. On all maps, even the maps he's good on, like Split, Haven, Lotus, because you have no information. You can get away with it a bit more because the meta is so divey now, so you're pretty much only running executes. Which, for those of you that care, what it means is that you don't need info because you're just going to hit a site whether there's 1 person or 5 people on it. From the moment the round starts, you've decided you're hitting that site. But if you're playing with all of the utility that you should have, all of the information you have available to you, you really want a Sova. Speaking about Sova, putting him in S tier. Nothing's changed. He's a hard recon. I'm going to blitz over these next few picks because there's not really too much to talk about them, since the changes haven't directly affected them. Kayo, A tier. Just good. He's always been good. Even though Breeze is out the meta, I think you can still make Kayo work on most maps. Skye, A tier. Actually really good on Haven. Info flashes are super good, especially for defaults. She's not overpowered anymore, but that's a good thing, right? Fade, A tier. If you want to play Fade instead of Sova, that's fine. They kind of do the same job, but you take what you can get, and if you're playing Fade, if you're a Fade main, just keep playing Fade, nothing wrong with her. Gekko, still A tier. Although Neon can run past his flashes, it is kind of annoying. Same as always, right? Especially on Lotus, maybe even Haven. Gekko's going to be pretty good for those information flashes. There are a lot of places you can do them from. You can pick up the flashes, psycho utility. That's the main thing. You always have utility to play with throughout the round. Really good for defaults. even better for executes. That's all the initiators. Let's talk about the sentinels. Killjoy going into A tier, kind of middle of the pack A tier. I think on some maps she's a must pick. Ascent, for instance, and Cypher is just not as good anymore because of how hard the executes are and how easy it is to break the tripwires. I don't know why, but I've played against a lot of Cypher while I'm on Neon, and Cypher is kind of Neon's hard counter, so you would think Cypher would be a super high, like, really hard to beat agent, but I don't know. I just don't think he's that good anymore. I don't know what it is, but I've just not had as many problems with Cyphers. Maybe the Cyphers players aren't as good, but for that reason, I just think Killjoy is better. To play with your mollies, to delay. I think delay is more important in this meta than it is actually stopping and getting those kills, because you're not gonna get, like, you're not gonna get kills against a Neon that's running at you mock speed while you're stunned, right? You can definitely delay them, you know, force him to break a tripwire, force him to wait for mollies, but you can't stop them. They are inevitable. That being said, Cypher's also A tier, but a bit lower than Killjoy. I think the Sentinels really suffer this patch. If you're a Sentinel player, I'm so sorry. It might be time to go play controller or something, because this is just not your patch. Not that I care, because I fucking hate you guys. Chamber may be actually better now. B tier. I think I put him in C tier before. I think he actually kind of benefits from the meta being a bit faster. Because now you need someone that can actually, like, on defense especially, you need someone that can go in and get a kill and live. Where Killjoy and Cypher can't do that because they have to play around their utility. Chamber can just, like, run in and get a kill and live. I don't think he's amazing, though, because his tripwires still suck. If his trips were good, then I think we'd actually see a lot of Chamber being played. But because it's not, I think he's still B tier. And also, I have a bias where I just don't really like the agent. I never really liked him. I don't know why. Deadlock. Deadlock going in A tier again. The A tier is becoming quite big right now. A testament to how balanced I think this patch is. Or maybe how stupid I am. Okay, Deadlock going in B tier. In the last patch, I put Deadlock in A. I think that was maybe because the Sentinel meta was so strong that I think you could get away with playing her. The wall is good and the senses are good. And in some ways, on some maps, I think Deadlock is probably better than the other two Sentinels. But to be honest with you, I just need someone to fill in the B tier. So I don't know. I'm really torn on this agent because you don't see a lot of her being played. Gonna stay in B tier for now. Sage, also B tier. I think their walls actually... I'm gonna have to see how this plays out, right? I think on Abyss especially, their walls are really good for stopping executes because they have to sit there and break the wall. And even if they can break the wall pretty fast, it's still just that layer of delay with the slow orbs as well. Like, especially against a Neon... you can't really do anything about as slow as a Neon. You can't really run through it. If you get slow orbed, you're kind of dead. I think Sage is actually way better and really slept on. These two agents, I think, have really slept on this patch. So I am putting them in B tier, and that's preliminary because I don't want to have every single agent in the A tier right now. Because I don't know if that's really how balanced the game is, and these agents are actually quite hard to play. But I am thinking right now, I still torn about this. I'm going to put these at the bottom and these at the top. I think they might actually be better than Killjoy and Cypher. I might just turn them around. I might just swap them. Because I don't know if from like the 20 games I've played, I don't think my grasp of the meta is like strong enough for me to actually justify doing this. But even in some of the scrims I played, it did kind of feel like that as well. Where like if you had a Sage War, it would be way harder to play against. But then you could just change your team comp, right? And you could just play more defaulty. And then these guys would be stronger again. So that's the thing. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put these in beta. I'm going to put these in A tier. Probably the craziest, like... This is the craziest rating I've had. But I think this might pay off for me. I really do, actually. I do think Deadlock and Sage. I think the Walling Sentinels are way better than the other ones in this meta. And now all we have left are the controllers. The controllers in Valorant, not the ones that you used to play Valorant on the Xbox and PS5. If you didn't know, Valorant's actually on the console now. Brimstone, beta. Nothing to write home about. Like, he's just... I've never really had any problems with Brimstone. The main things to think about is just the map pool and, like, how his mollies work. Like, is his entire kit useful? On most maps, his entire kit isn't that useful. On, like, Abyss and Bind, his kit is pretty useful. So he's just going to go and beat it. Omen, S tier. Look at that. We got 6 S tier agents. We're playing Overwatch 1 now. I mean, he's just Omen. Like, I don't know. He's just good. He's just always gonna be good. Unless they change the flash or the way the smokes work, I don't think he's ever gonna be bad. The flash is just super good for delay and super good for fighting, especially with these three. That honestly, you could probably get away with like running like any variation of like this guy, or like this guy, or like her, him. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You just take a duelist, 2 initiators, a controller, and any of these sentinels, and I think you're like probably fine. Viper going in A tier. I don't like putting this many agents in the A tier, but the thing is, she's the only agent that does what she does. It's self-explanatory. Harbor, B tier, just not as good as Viper. Harder to play. Although, there is an argument to be made that the slowing walls might actually stop this like crazy aggro meta. And on the flip side, you can use this for executes because you can take space like by dividing the bomb sites. Now, I might be overcooking here, and this might be flying over some of your guys' heads. Look, I'm going to put Harbor at the top of B tier because I think there is potential here. Whether that potential gets fulfilled or not, we're going to see. Astra going into C tier, I think Astra is the worst controller, if I'm honest with you. Maybe that's just my bias, but I think just because people like to play an agent doesn't mean they're good. And that's kind of the issue that I see with Astra. A lot of people play Astra, but what value does she really have that Omen doesn't, right? The pull, wind up, and the stun wind up, like, they're so slow you can run out of them with your gun out. I don't know, I just don't see it. And last but finally not least, we have Clove. Now, they had a small change to their kit. Let me just go check this again. Yeah, they had a small nerf, pretty much decreases the value of their seat and their ultimate. Now, in my last tier list, I put Clove in high A. I don't think that placement has changed. I think the benefits that they give are still strong enough. You know, the ultimate, I still see it being used as frequently as it was before the changes. It just requires you to play a bit more safe. The pick me up the C, still good, it's just the window is shorter. Smokes after death, I just think that they're a good all-around solid agent, especially for ranked. I do think there is less priority on this pick, because you have such strong duelists. So, you know, you could get away with playing like a more passive controller like Brimstone in ranked if you wanted to. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think in ranked, and what a lot of my ranked games are looking like, is it's kind of looking like Neon ISO Clove. You just run it down with pure firepower. But this patch, there's not a single agent in D tier. So we freed up that side of the list, and hopefully all of these agents will move towards the top. Bear in mind that Killjoy and Cypher are kind of like preliminary placements, simply because I've not played against good Killjoys or Cyphers. They very well could be A tier. I'm going to move them back to high B tier. That's my tier list for patch 8.11. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you agree, disagree, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts on the duelist changes for this patch specifically, how they help you out in the ranked games if they have, or how annoying they are to play against. That being said, hope you enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Murphist.